Homicidal clothes cause I'm dressed to kill. Leave 6 bitches oohing cause I'm worth a mil. Flow is ill, spitting no vomit spill. Killing them softly but I ain't Lauren.
What is up, my people? Welcome to another episode of the Townie Sports Podcast. I am one of your two great hosts this evening, Sammy, alongside, as always, Vic. Vic, how are you doing today, bro?
Sammy, I'm doing wonderful. It's just another day in the beautiful paradise that we live in called Florida.
You just recently came back from a trip to the homeland, as we like to call it. How was it? How was that trip, Vic?
Well, you'll understand when I say this, Sammy. I went to the Mecca of our people, TD Garden. Had a great time with my buddies, visiting up with TK and Ant. Great seeing them. Got to see the kids. Got to actually shout out Geronimo in person, so that was great. You forget how cold is until you go back up there. But you fall in love with it every time you go back up. I feel like so. It was a great time, and it was great to go back and see everybody. So shout out to my aunt and my cousins too that I also saw. But it was just an awesome time seeing everybody.
Heck yeah! Welcome back to real world, as they say.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
If I wasn't already on a plane, we would have been doing this podcast on Tuesday. So we apologize to all the townie people out there, but we are doing it here on Thursday, and then after this, we'll be back to Tuesdays.
Yep.
So hopefully.
Yeah. So quick reminder to everybody. Thank you everybody for coming in. Thank you everybody for listening to us. Just remember, like and subscribe. Give us that quick subscribe. That's going to help us a lot with the algorithm. And to just spread our message, to spread our content, to spread all this. If you like what you see, if you like what you hear, just hit the like button and subscribe. But yeah, let me give a little intro kind of how we're going to break down tonight. So we're going to start, obviously, with the NBA All-Star Weekend. Pretty much kind of talking about it, rating it, and then potentially talking about how we can revamp it. Because obviously I think, as you agree, there's probably some aspects of it that can definitely be revamped. We're going to talk about, obviously, the big discussion on where Aaron Rodgers is going, where he would fit. Then this is something that I kind of wanted to touch on because I had listened to it last Friday, and I thought it was a really, really great. It was really, really great content and really interesting to listen to, and I know you probably agree, is Jayson Tatum was on JJ Redick's podcast, and he kind of had a lot to say, so I wanted to kind of break down kind of some of those things that he talked about. Then we're going to get into the LeBron situation and is all this trouble that's brewing in Los Angeles right now. It's pretty crazy. So yeah, that's pretty much how we're going to break down today. But first and foremost, let's kind of dive right into it. So Friday night, the NBA All-Star Weekend. Friday night, we had obviously the celebrity basketball game. I don't know if you watched any of the Friday night stuff.
I wasn't able to watch Rising Stars either.
Oh, okay. So MGK was pretty awful at basketball. So that was pretty much all I took from it overall. But then obviously we had the Rising Stars Challenge. I thought what they did this year, having a kind of a mini tournament, 4 teams with 7 players each, the 2 semifinal games to 50 points, and then the final game to 25 points. I thought that was really interesting. I thought it really added a little bit more edge to it and allowed kind of more of those players to come in and kind of showcase their skills, because they brought in a few players from the G League as well. They brought in rookies, sophomores, all that stuff, and they all got to duke it out. Unfortunately, I thought Evan Mobley and Cade Cunningham on the same team was just drastically unfair. What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I mean those guys are absolute beasts. I'm really shocked. So I heard, I forget, I think it was the Bill Simmons podcast, and he said that Evan Mobley may be the best all-around player, but Cade Cunningham was the best pick in the most recent draft at 1. With the way the league is right now, you need a dominant guard, I feel like, or a dominant player, be able to drive to the net. But I'm so happy that we have these 2 young players balling. And you know what, Cade Cunningham, people slept on him in the beginning, and he's really starting to come around now. I know this past game where the Detroit Pistons beat the Celtics. Obviously, it was mainly Pascal Siakam. What's his name? It was the other guy.
Sadiq Bey.
Sadiq Bey. Thank you, Sadiq Bey, who torched us. But Cade Cunningham was a big part of that as well. So excited where the league is. We got a lot of great young stars. LaMelo, of course, Ja. I mean, this is the way the league's going right now, and I think it's never been in a better spot.
Yeah, I agree with you. I thought it was really fun to watch. At first, I kind of didn't really take it seriously. I wasn't really watching like every single play because I mean you don't really have to. But I thought overall it started to become a pretty entertaining situation there. Then they added a little clutch challenge. So intermittently in between the semifinals and the final, they had a little clutch challenge where two players would take shots from those special spots where in the past in final games or clutch games that somebody had hit a three or a shot to win a game. And Halliburton and Desmond Bane ended up winning, even though Desmond Bane only hit the last shot, which I guess, that's important, but Halliburton pretty much hit all the other shots. Yeah.
Yeah.
He hit like the deep, I think, Bane hit the deep, what was it, the Damian Lillard shot, but he didn't hit a single other one on the court. Yeah. But all right.
You like that stuff, though, right? You like the Rising Star stuff.
I do.
See, the Rising Star stuff, it's all right for me. It's like a mini. For me, I think of it as like a mini All-Star game. Like these are
like a diet All-Star game.
Right, diet All-Star game. But then you have people on the floor who just have no reason to be out there in the Rising Stars Challenge, just because they don't have, the sophomores don't have enough people, so they just started throwing out random people. I think there's been several famous ones, but another rookie I forgot to mention were Mo Wagner and my guy in Toronto, who's Scotty Barnes, who's just having a great year defensively on top of his offense. And honestly, he's the one really leading Toronto at this point, even with Pascal Siakam, not doing great. But I don't really tune in for those, but I will next year because of you.
Yeah, I like to tune into it because it kind of gives me a leg up on the next season and the season to come. Because sometimes you don't really get an opportunity to watch all these young guys, so you don't really know every single young guy that's kind of up and coming. Then you see some of these guys play in these Rising Stars Challenge, and then it kind of you go on notice, right? So for those last 20, 30 games, you're like, oh, Jayson Tatum. Like, especially for me, didn't really know a lot about Jayson Tatum. Now I do. And now I'm going to keep my eyes open. I mean, I knew of him, but now I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep you on my radar.
Now I'm all in. Gotcha.
Yeah. But all right, Saturday. So this is kind of the meat. Right. This is the meat and potatoes. This is kind of where the situation got a little bit crazy. I mean, it started off pretty nice. So it was a nice the skills challenge was okay. Let's start there. What did you think about the skills challenge?
I love the new skills challenge.
Okay.
I love it. I absolutely love it. It was fun. I thought it was fun.
Yeah.
Especially the rookie comeback was amazing. Shout out to TK for letting me watch the skills challenge at his house while we were getting ready to go to dinner in the North End. But just an absolute. I thought it was fun. Did you not think it was fun? What did you think about and can you explain the new format to the viewers?
I don't know the new format, honestly. I was honestly just watching, trying to figure out what this new format is, but I think they set it up with 3 games, essentially.
So it is 3 games. So there's a shooting, a passing, and I guess it's just what was the last one? Just a chuck it one, right? Where
it was like one where you go around. It's like an obstacle course, and then you got to lay it up at the end.
No, that was the final one. That was the second one. That was the second one. The third one was the one where they chuck it from half court. So they're shooting. There was the dribble one. Oh no, that was the winner, right?
That was just if they were tied. That was like
that's
if
right.
They were tied.
It was the passing. I'm putting the passing one and the obstacle course together. Yeah. That's right. It used to be. So basically, all those things were wrapped into one.
So it was a shooting one where you have different spots on the court and you accumulate points based on those points. Then the second one was a round where 3 guys has to pass into these moving targets, but you can't shoot at the same one twice in a row. So they had to rotate and try and get as many passes into the targets as possible. And then that third one is that little obstacle course race, pretty much.
Yes, and it was intense. So I think Team Antetokounmpo, and I love the teams too. It used to be all individual. I love the teams nowadays. So you had Team Antetokounmpo, you had Team Rookie, and then you had Team Cleveland. Mm-hmm. So Team Cleveland takes the early lead. Looks like Team Cleveland's going to pull away. Then Team Antetokounmpo, and then it looks like Team Antetokounmpo is going to come in and do something there, and end up flaming out. But then in the final challenge, the rookies come back, make a great comeback, and end up having to play. I believe it's the Cleveland team in the shootout,
right?
And in the half court shot or whatever it was, and who else but Evan Mobley sinks the second shot from half court to win it for Team Cleveland, fittingly so. The All-Star game being in Cleveland, love the skills challenge, love the revamped format.
I liked it. I liked the format. I didn't like kind of who they chose for the Giannis. I get why, but I was kind of watching some of that, and I was like, those two guys should not be at All-Star Weekend playing on the court. I'm sorry. I love all those brothers. I think they're hustlers. I think they're grinding players. But, I mean, I would have rather had Giannis maybe pair up with another point guard and another center or something like that. Somebody who is a little more skilled because it's called a skills challenge. But, I mean, it's all fun because those are his brothers and, take down the Antetokounmpo brothers. So
it would have been great if they would have had like a unicorn team where it was like Giannis, Porzingis, and Embiid or something like that, right?
Right.
That would have been sick. Oh, man, that would have been cool. Or like Giannis, Cat, and Porzingis.
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh,
or Embiid.
Yeah.
Giannis, Cat, and Embiid.
Yeah, that would have been great.
That would have been sick.
Hey, don't sleep on the original unicorn, though. Come on, Porzingis. Give him some love.
Yeah.
Let him be there. He actually deserves
I'm just
to be
sticking with, make it all-stars. That's all. Not.
and let's not have a G Leaguer at the NBA All-Star skills challenge, please.
Yeah.
All right. So I love it. 2 thumbs up there.
Yeah. I love the format. Keep that going. That was fun. So obviously the second one, typical 3-point contest. Nothing to see here, really. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. We love the 3-point contest. I think the most interesting stat of the entire night was Karl Anthony Towns' odds to win by Vegas was plus 1,200, which in my eyes, when I looked at that, you guys asked a lot of my friends when I was out there. I was hanging out with one of my buddies, and I'm like, Cat's plus 1,200. I was like really shocked by that.
Yeah, I didn't think that. Hey, Cat's plus 1,200. You should probably put fire on that. He's shooting like 40% from 3.
Right.
And you know who was missing and who was snubbed, I think, from this 3-point contest was our guy Grant Williams, shooting 43% from 3. Why are you laughing?
Oh, I knew it was going there.
Old corner office himself was not invited, which is kind of BS in my opinion, but. And we are missing probably him just drilling 3-pointers right now as they play the Nets, a hobbled Nets team that is minus their best players. But, man, I'm just glad basketball is back from the All-Star break. And I just want to say, if the night would have ended here, Sammy, it would have been a great night.
Right. It would have. And that's where we have to get to the part that you and I are probably going to have to complain about and bitch about, which was the abysmal dunk contest. And don't get me wrong, I absolutely love the dunk contest. Every single year I look forward to the dunk contest. And I think it probably has something to do with NBA Live 05, where you got to do the dunk contest, or, when you used to, stay up late to watch the dunk contest and see some of these incredible players put on an amazing show. I mean, they were showing 2016 dunk contest because this dunk contest was just practically unwatchable. You give me your thoughts.
Well, first of all, Sammy, blink your eyes 3 times if you're being held hostage. That was the last NBA game you played? Come on. They have dunk contests in the newer NBA games, and NBA 2K is...
I don't play 2K. I don't play 2K. Right
now. But it was embarrassing to the league. I've heard some thoughts about revamping it. I've heard some thoughts about getting rid of it and making it a layup contest, like best layup. Hey, layups are cool, man. Like one of those like up and unders, like without touching the rim. I mean, that would have been great. TK's right. They should have had our guy Nick Edson on there.
Nick Edson would have dunked.
Yeah, But my thing, there's an easy way to fix this, right? It's you get one chance. If you don't hit the dunk, you're done. No more 5 chances to hit a dunk. No more. The best part of the dunk is the initial dunk, not just like watching a guy try and then nail it. Because the fun part is the actual surprise of the dunk, right? And that's where I think that they need to go to fix this. Also, the stars thing, I get the stars thing, but let's be honest. Aaron Gordon and Zach LaVine weren't really moving the needle back in 2016. And in my opinion, that was the greatest dunk contest we've ever seen. Mm-hmm. I mean,
from a content perspective, obviously those weren't the greatest dunks. I think probably you can argue the Vince Carters and all those other ones. But I mean, yeah, as far as just a head-to-head, yeah, that was easily the best.
I don't know what you're talking about. I think those were by far the best dunks. I mean, literally, Aaron Gordon sat on the ball in the air while he was going over stuff, and then still dunked it. I mean, that was incredible.
Hearing the name Stuff gets me every single time.
Such a great nickname for
But I would have loved if we had more entertainers in this, and I mean entertainers by NBA entertainers like a Ja Morant and I don't want to keep bringing the Celtics, but I feel like I want Jaylen Brown to be in this. I think he would be incredible at it. He's got incredible hang time, and I don't know if it's an incentive thing. I don't know if they have to maybe push more money. But I feel like when you make that dunk contest exceptional, the money's going to come back to you anyway. So I don't know if they have to give some of these all-stars like more incentive to be in the dunk contest. What do you think about that?
I don't think it's an incentive thing, saying I think it's a pride thing. So like back when Jordan did it and Kobe did it, I mean, it was a pride thing, right? So these guys were wired differently. They wanted to be the best. So they wanted to go out there and dunk against the best. Shaq did it. You know what I mean? Like these guys that were at the prime of their career, and then things started to trail off where Shaq did it, and then Nate Robinson was winning them. You know what I mean? Vince Carter stopped doing it, and it just mattered less, right? So I don't think in making the incentive better is going to do much, but it is what it is. And I think it is what it is at this point. You need to do the one time. I think that's the only way that it becomes fun again. Like, because then we have people actually making dunks. I mean, and Cole Anthony's dunk was terrible. Dunking in Tim's. Yes, I know it's hard, but you're an NBA player, dude. I get it. You're dunking with shoes on. Who cares?
I thought it was cool, but I agree they could have been more entertaining. But I thought it was cool.
You thought that was cool? Come on.
I didn't think it was the coolest, but yes, I was like, damn, he's dunking in Tim's. That's pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
You ever walked in Tim's? You can't even do anything in those things, bro.
They're not high heels. He would have put on some 9-inch high heels and did it. Then I would be like,
no, you can walk around in them, but I mean, you're gonna try and cross somebody over in Tim's? No, you're gonna break your ankle, dude. But okay, so overall, you look at this, and I feel like the dunk contest was so bad that it overshadowed those other two events. And it wasn't until, honestly, I set this up where I was like, actually, Saturday was decent, but if you take, like you just mentioned, if you take that dunk contest out of it.
Yeah.
But then we get to Sunday. Did you watch the All-Star game on Sunday?
Yeah, I watched some of it, yeah.
Yeah. So what do you think about the new Elam ending? How they set up?
This is our, what is that, second year on it?
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. It actually makes the game a little bit more exciting at the end. Pretty much every game is a buzzer. Like every game would end in a buzzer beater, right? Because you have that one shot. So I love it. I don't know how you feel about it, but I love it. I don't know. I bet I would like it for regular season basketball, but I like it now.
Yeah, I think it's great. It definitely made the All-Star game a more watchable product, considering most of the time, especially where we were heading before, I think last year's, it looked like the All-Star game was completely fading away. I mean, Saturday was always going to be Saturday, but it just seemed like Sunday's viewership changed. And I think when they added this, it made it a little more exciting. I think you look at the defense and the intensity picks up in the fourth, relatively speaking. Obviously, they're not playing playoff defense, but then it starts to matter at the end when you're given an incentive and there's no time on the clock, so you can't just waste time. And I think it allows the players to keep the other three quarters kind of close because, like, with this Elam ending, it's all based on whatever in the last 4 minutes, whatever that score is, the highest score, you add, I think, 6 or 8 points to it, and the first team to that. So if they both are at 20, then the first team to 28 So it kind of forces them to stay relatively, within striking distance. And like we ended up seeing, Team LeBron ended up coming out victorious. Even I think they were down by 1 going into the fourth quarter. So
Yeah. No, it's great. I love, and you know what? The product wasn't bad in the All-Star game either. I think,
Curry.
yeah, he set a record. I think the NBA All-Star game is by far the best All-Star game that we put out there.
Wait, what?
Maybe
Really?
baseball.
You think so?
Maybe baseball. Yeah, it's NBA and then baseball.
I flip them.
Oh, you do? Baseball is great too. Because the thing about baseball is that there's not a lot of contact, right? So you can go 100% always, right?
I think the home run derby is also incredible. I think that's like dunk contest. Like,
but in terms of weekend, no, I'll take Saturday NBA All-Star over home derby all day long.
oh, of course, you got a lot more events going, a lot more memorable events at that. But I think the MLB All-Star game is usually more competitive, and it's a closer game, and it's better. It's a lot more fun, in my opinion.
It kind of actually matters too. So I guess you did convince me.
Right, but it's a non-contact sport, right? So right. I mean, the pitchers are pitching 1 inning, 2 innings maybe. So you're not getting a lot of wear and tear there. So I mean, you have to consider kind of relative, sport and stuff like that. But I mean, I could definitely see where maybe the NBA All-Star game could be more, enticing than the MLB.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But right, overall, what did you think of this year's version of the All-Star game?
I give it a B-, solid B-.
I'm right, B-, C+. Yeah, passing grade, good enough, a little bit above average.
Yeah.
Dunk contest really took it down. I think if the dunk contest was a little bit better, we're probably looking at an A-, B+.
Oh, I'm right now. Yeah, and that's what harmed it the most. Like, if anything, like the dunk contest was a straight L. Like,
yeah. A straight L. Oh, that's going on TikTok and Instagram. But all right, moving on. Let's get to some NFL. Kind of switch gears before we come back to the NBA, because I know a lot of people are also discussing this. And everybody knows about, our NFL knowledge and how vast it can be. But where is Aaron Rodgers going, Vic? I mean, in your eyes, based on what you see, you can talk about it in any sort of sense or any sort of context, if you will, that you wish. Where would he be the best fit, and where do you think he's going? I know there's certain odds that Vegas has right now on where he's going, correct?
Yeah, I'm sure they do. It's funny, because typically this show is we're stats guys, right? You and I, we love our stats. We love breaking down games, and this is like one of the only shows a year where we get to really do the talking heads thing, right? So I get to put my talking head on here and try and pretend like I know something that somebody doesn't. But I think the odds-on favorite right now is what? Denver? That's my assumption. That's where every podcast I listen to, everything I read says is that they see him going to Denver. I also see Pittsburgh pop up a lot as well. Of course, going with Mike Tomlin when Ben Roethlisberger is coming out. Now, Denver makes sense because of the weapons that they have, right? So they kind of already have a kind of Bucks level situation there right now, right?
Right.
Where they have the offensive pieces around him that would make him good. And then isn't Devonta Adams free agent?
Yeah.
So I think they have the money to bring Devonta there, and I know him and Rodgers are close. Here's what I think. I think wherever Rodgers goes, I think Devonta follows. What do you think about that?
I agree. I think that's kind of why the two names that you had mentioned are very, very big on everybody's list, and that's why I think Denver right now is the huge favorite because of that, because they do have the space to get both, and they have the assets to get both.
Yeah, and I think I like Pittsburgh as a fit as well. I feel like they have the same thing where they have the defense there. I mean, didn't they just have the defensive player of the year in T.J. Watt? Mm-hmm. And then they have a great defense. They have wide receivers who are decent as well when they want to be. Yeah. When they actually get thrown the ball, a tight end in Freiermuth. Yep. Right. Who's shown he's going to have great skill. they have the running back in Najee Harris, who obviously is a stud. So I'd like the fit better in Denver, but Pittsburgh is a very intriguing spot, I think.
Yeah.
And that's definitely my number 2 spot. And I honestly I can't see him going anywhere other than those 2 places. What do you got?
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, I've said Denver since the end of the year, since the end of the season. I even said it, I believe on one of our shows I had mentioned it to Kurt. I think Denver would be a good spot. And I think with the Nathaniel Hackett addition, that kind of just solidifies that even more, right? You know, a guy that, you know, they trust each other. They've obviously played together. He's coached him. He's coached Aaron Rodgers. Jerry Jeudy and Cortland Sutton have been awesome without a star arm. And it's just like, imagine now you throw in Aaron Rodgers with those guys and then potentially bring in Davante Adams as well. And you're looking at just a star-studded cast of wide receivers for Aaron Rodgers to pick everybody off. And you're looking at the AFC West to be even tougher than it already was. I mean, and again, like you were mentioning, that defense is not perfect, but it was still really solid, even after trading away Von Miller. According to regular metrics, that was a top 8 defense in all of football. According to my metric, I believe they were 5 or 6. So, I mean, just an overall really, really good defense too. So, yeah, I mean, that's just the perfect position for Aaron Rodgers. And I'm with you again too. I think Pittsburgh's really good. I think for 2 reasons. I think the Steelers are immensely talented at every single position. They may not be as talented on the wide receiver end as or they may not have the ceiling on the wide receiver end as Denver, but I still think, like you said, they still have really, really good pass catchers. I don't know if they have the cap space to also add Davante Adams, so that can kind of affect if he goes to Pittsburgh or not. But I think the Steelers, and it pains me to say this, man, but the Steelers are one good quarterback away from a title. Like, not even just winning division, not even just winning the AFC, like going just straight to the Super Bowl, because they have everything else. They just don't have a good quarterback. And it showed. They were in every single game. But if you have those off games where Ben Roethlisberger is having a tough game, the offensive line falters a little bit, it's going to be tough. And if you throw Aaron Rodgers in that offense and that defense, and it's just, I think that Pittsburgh team's absolutely incredible. And it hurts. My dark horse, though, is Las Vegas. Again, who knows if he's going to go to this West team. If he was going to go to the AFC West, obviously it's going to be Denver. But I think before the Josh McDaniels signing, I was like, hell no, he's not going to Las Vegas. But now it's a little bit more intriguing. They do have the cap space to add both of them. And then if you look at it from the other perspective, right? So you got Josh McDaniels, who we know is a great offensive coordinator, who had Brady under his wing and was part of so many, historical seasons with TB12 and knows how to use that type of arm talent. And then you also look at the perspective that there could be a potential QB swap. Now, hear me out. The Packers still will get a viable QB option in Derek Carr. And obviously, they're also going to have to throw in other assets like draft picks and things like that to trade for Aaron Rodgers. But it is a little bit more enticing if Las Vegas comes like, we'll give you Derek Carr and picks for Aaron Rodgers, and then they still have the space to sign Davante Adams. He's a little bit closer to home. Obviously he's from California. They run that offense, that spread offense. Derek Carr wasn't terrible with the weapons that he had, and then you throw Davante Adams in the mix, got a decent running back. I mean, I think that's a nice dark horse in Las Vegas.
That team would stink. I think they stink right now, to be honest with you. I don't know how they almost made the playoffs, but they stink.
Yeah.
I wouldn't go there if I was him. He's looking.
No, I wouldn't either. But I mean, it's also up to Green Bay as well.
No, I mean it's his choice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but
nobody's going to trade for him. Nobody. First of all, he's not going to play anywhere. If he gets traded somewhere he doesn't want to go, he's not going to play.
Yeah.
So I don't not to poo-poo your dark horse. But
it's a dark horse. I'm not saying that's a favorite. I just said it's interesting.
I had a dark horse. Hey, I had a dark horse at the beginning of the NFL season. Their name was the Cincinnati Bengals. So hey, You never know. We could be posting this on TikTok later, and
it'll go viral again.
Yeah, when we get sent to the Las Vegas Raiders. So I wouldn't poo-poo it. I think I think honestly, and not to be macabre here, but if they had Henry Ruggs still, I think that this is a much different conversation.
Right. Don't sleep on Josh McDaniels. That's all.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how good of a head coach he's going to be.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
I mean, we all know that he's probably not going to kick field goal on fourth down when he's at the 1-yard line, but yeah.
Yeah.
All right, moving back to basketball, kind of a topic we love to touch on, and a player that we love to talk about. Jayson Tatum was on JJ Redick podcast. I believe it's called The Three and the Old or something like that.
Old Man in
the Three.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was on the Old Man in the Three, JJ Redick's podcast. Did you get a chance to listen to it, Vic? And give me your initial thoughts on the interview. A little bit.
I am a big JJ Redick fan ever since back when he was on the Ringer. I'm not sure the podcast is still on the Ringer network, but no, and I'm a fan of Tommy as well. But no, I got a little bit of it, Sammy. I got the parts where he addressed the Jalen stuff. I actually saw the clip about the Jalen stuff. I think was it you that sent it to me? Where he addressed the Jalen stuff.
Yeah.
So no, it looked good. I was happy with it. It sounded like a guy that was comfortable with where he's at currently, but he also didn't. It didn't make me feel like he was trying to be in Boston long term. I mean, I don't know how people think. I mean, I don't know how people are going to interpret it at all. But I definitely got the feeling that him and JB, I mean, are fine. A lot of the stuff about them not getting along together is immensely overplayed. And I think a lot of the chemistry stuff that was written about early in the season was blown out of proportion as well. At least that's how JT made it seem.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, it looks as if he wants to create something here. I mean, he mentioned it multiple times, that, him and JB had this conversation. Do you want to be here? They both want to be in Boston. They both want to do something there. And I took something really interesting from what he said, where he was talking about they've won more here than they've lost. And I was
that's true.
That's absolutely true. And yeah, you go through rough patches. And I actually liked the honesty that he had. I liked, the semi-humbleness that he had, where he was mentioning how, it was potentially bad that he had such early success, because then that becomes the normal, and anything above or below gets criticized. You know what I mean? So him coming out and having such an impact so early because of injuries, kind of forced him into this growing role as a player. And then everybody saw what the potential was. So then everybody's just like waiting for the potential to hit. Oh, we know he can drop 30, so he should do that every game. He didn't say that, but I mean, that was kind of what he was, that's kind of what he was like referring to. I thought it was really cool. He addressed the Marcus Smart stuff with Marcus, and he was talking about how him and Marcus went out after, and he was like, bro, you probably shouldn't have said that to the public. You should have said it to me. And Marcus also apologized, and I think Marcus was on the day before. I don't know if you listened to the day before. Marcus Smart was talking to JJ Redick, and he was asked too, and he was like, "Yeah, I shouldn't have said that to the media. I should have just kept it, within our team and discussed it." And I mean, they did answer though, and I give kudos to it. And even JT had mentioned that. He's like, we did answer to that, and we understood. And then there was the other part, and this is kind of the part that I really wanted to discuss with you, was now, before we get into tying it into, the all NBA situation, because I know now that's become a big discussion since he talked about it, is the voters or the media voters vote on all NBA.
Right.
But he had mentioned and alluded to his shot profile being his downfall, that he was criticized heavily, coming into the league. And then his first 3-4 years was his shot profile. But the way he referred to it was he didn't think that his shot profile was all that bad, or he had just the way he was kind of talking about it. He kind of, to put in your terms, he kind of poo-pooed that idea. even though, in my opinion, and you can probably agree with me, I thought his shot profile was ass before the season, like complete ass. I don't know. I don't know what you.
Do you mean shot selection?
Yeah.
Okay.
So kind of where he chooses to shoot from, the shots he settles for.
I hate it. I hated it. I still hate it, kind of, to be honest with you. But
right.
He makes a lot more than I. Actually, you know what? He really doesn't. I hate his shot. I hate his shots.
Yeah.
So shot selection. It boggles my mind sometimes. But I'll let you continue. I'm sorry. I threw you.
No, you're good. No, I asked you. Yeah, I wanted to know if you liked his, and I figured you would agree that you think his shot profile is also trash. So I mean, I understood the criticism for his shot profile. Like, dude, like your shot profile is not that good. You're a pretty good 3-point shooter, but you settle for the mid range, and that's what leads me to my next point.
You know, I wonder, and before you go into that, I wonder what his shot profile would compare to Kobe Bryant's shot profile. If you have like a shot, I don't know if you have something like. You keep going, but I want next time I want to try and do like a comparison between the two, just to see, because he reminds me of a lot of Kobe in his shot selection.
Yeah.
Kobe used to get to the rim a lot more, which made him a lot more better scorer. And you'll see like when Tatum goes to the rim more, he scores more buckets. So
bingo.
Obviously, but I'll let you continue. Sorry.
No, I asked you about this earlier, so I'm gonna bring it up here. So. I heard an interesting take about advanced metrics and analytics in a shot profile or a shot selection, and talking about if you're not in the restricted area and if you're not in the 3-point zone, more than likely it's a mid-range, right? So that 10 to 20 feet shot, 10 to 19 feet. So this is kind of how I broke it down. I know I put 2-point percentage. I'm referring to anything from 10 to 19 feet. So mid-range. Anything in the restricted area?
Can you explain what these are? Okay.
So pretty much what I did, if you look all the way on the left side, I believe it is your left side. All the way on your left side, that's your 3-point percentage in decimal, right? So 10%, 12.5%, 15% on all the way down to 60%. Because I was like, I mean, nobody's going to shoot 70% from three.
No.
Not even Curry does that. Then if you go to the middle, that refers to out of 100 attempts, how many you made. So obviously 3-point percentage, if you're 0.1 and you shot 100 times, you made 10 of them, correct? And on all the way down that list. Then I multiplied that by 3. That's how many points you score. If you shoot 10% of 100 attempts, you make 10 of them, you score 30 points.
Gotcha. Right? So this isn't as much of a stat as this is a guide to what each point value is worth based on your shot percentage. So these are not Jayson Tatum or anybody's stats, guys. This is just a table to show you what I'll let you keep explaining. Sorry.
No, yeah, go ahead. Keep going.
But what percentage, what value your shot selection is based off your percentages. So look, so now, for example, now I see what you're talking about. Now, before I looked at this, I said, what the hell is this? Yeah. But now, after I heard you explain it, I finally get it. And JC, I was right there with you, man. I was like, I don't know what this is.
Yeah.
So basically, this table, not chart.
And then if you look at, let me keep moving on though, real quick. The 2-point percentage. So this is going to be your mid-range percentage. So this is if you're shooting from 10 to 19%, you're shooting either 10%, 12.5%, 15%, on and on. You made out of 100 attempts, you made 10, you got 20 points, right? Mm-hmm. So the ones that I highlighted are pretty much your to kind of use like sports/MLB reference, like your Mendoza line, right? Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where the bulk of NBA players are going to be in that, 0.275 to like, let's say 500 or 50%, right? So you're 27.5 to 50% 3-point as well as 2-point percentage, right? Mm-hmm. And the thing about Jayson Tatum, what made it very interesting and why the shot selection was so bad is because if you're For Jayson Tatum's case, right? He's around a 36% 3-point shooter, career-wise, 36%, right? Yet he was shooting mid-range jumpers at around a clip, I believe, around 44%, right? So if you look at this table, he's shooting around 36%, right? So you look at, okay, so if he take 100 shots, 30, let's say 35%, you're getting 105 points, right? Now, if you look at if he's shooting his regular jumper, let's say he's at 45%, right? If he's shooting the mid-range at 45%, well, he's only getting 90 points. So if you're shooting over 30% from three and under 50% from the mid-range, you should never shoot the mid-range jumper because your shot is very inefficient. But if you shoot very low, so if you're shooting under 30%, and your mid-range is above 45, 50%, then yes, take that mid-range jumper. But again, you're really only looking at centers and certain power forwards that probably don't have that three-point percentage up there. So pretty much the majority of the league should stop taking mid-range jumpers because it's just not, points-wise, it's not an efficient jumper unless you're like, for example, I brought up some stats of Kevin Garnett, the perfect example of a mid-range shot. He shoots about 48 to 50%. So he's obviously, and he shoots about 30%. So you're looking at a guy that gets 95 points versus the 90 points. Well, he's going to take the mid-range because it's a lot more efficient for him, correct? I mean, that's just how it is.
I mean, I think we all agree, 3-point, after the revolution here, 3 points have always been valued higher than 2 points. No, well, I know how stupid that sounds, but ever since, honestly, the Orlando Magic with Dwight Howard back in the day, 3-pointers have been valued differently around the league. It's been the mid-range has always been inefficient. Since we've grown up watching basketball, myself, really watching basketball, understanding basketball, the mid-range jumper has always been an incredibly inefficient shot for most people. Devin Booker, on the other hand, is somebody where I think that it is more efficient to shoot mid-range. I believe his mid-range jumpers have to be above 50%, just based on skill set.
So it makes sense. You're getting more points per possession, and that's the name of the game, correct? Points per possession.
Right, yeah. Points per possession. Yeah. No, so basically, yeah, and I think everybody, yeah. I don't know anybody that would disagree with you, that would say that 3-point, that 3-pointers are less efficient shots than a 2-pointer, unless you're Joel Embiid.
Yeah. I mean, I just wanted to throw it out there and explain why that profile was so critical for him, because if you're a superstar, all-star, you're getting the ball frequently. So you should pretty much limit those mid-range jumpers if you're getting those attempts and increase the amount that you're taking from 3-point, because that's how you're going to get more points per possession for him, for just example for him. And in general, that's why this little chart that I gave, I put it up one more time. So this little chart is very, very watered down. So it's more of just a basic way it's a guide to explain, okay, where are those median lines? Okay, so if they're below 30%, they should, and above 45%, okay, it's better to shoot the mid-range. But if they're above 30%, under 50%, they should always shoot the 3-pointer. So anyway.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. You could literally just take a slide ruler or just like a ruler and just like go up each one and be like, okay, so Tatum's shooting 47% from mid-range, but he's shooting 30% from 3, which is, okay, maybe he's better off taking the mid-range jumper then when we get off his ass. But that's obviously not his case. He's shooting about 36% from, off the top of my head, 36% from 3 and 43%.
Yes.
Yeah,
42.5, 42 something. Yeah.
Okay.
High 42.
Yeah, so
he's super inefficient. So if you look at that point difference, you're looking at 107 points. If you kind of take the numbers there, you're looking at he's leaving. If he's at 36, that's about 107, 108 points versus the 42, which is 85. You're leaving about 20 points on the table.
You know what? I to make everybody else's head hurt a little bit more. I almost wish we would have taken this a step further, and instead of just 2-point percentage there, did 2-point percentage from 10 feet and out, and then did a 2-point percentage from 10 feet and in. And
the restricted area is always the more efficient.
Yeah,
that's always if you have it, you go. That's what I'm trying to say. So that's why it's not in it. Because it's more of if you have a choice to either take that mellow jumper or a 3-pointer, unless you're Carmelo Anthony, then you should always go out to the 3-point line because Carmelo really likes the mid-range. and he's really efficient with the mid-range. But yeah, if you have, and there was also, in the restricted area, you should always go for that. That should always be your first option. That's what they say, because you're also, not only are you getting a easier shot, but your odds of getting a foul increase. So your chances to get 3 points also increases, if that makes sense.
I love it.
Too much numbers for everybody, but it is Talking Heads Day, but I had to throw a little stats in there for people.
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. And it really explains to the basketball novice, what the casual fan now can understand why the 3-point shot is so much more efficient than a mid-range jumper. So Thank you for that, Sammy. Thank you for taking us to school. We should call that Professor Sammy Corner right there.
Oh, that's true. I should have done. We should have been the Professor Sammy's Corner segment. That would have been good.
Sammy teaches you blank.
Math. NBA math.
NBA efficiency.
But anyway, moving on from that. So I did disagree with Jayson Tatum on that aspect of his shot profile and him saying, "Oh, what do you think? What did you expect me to do?" It's like, well, you should shoot more threes. That's what we're trying to say, and not settle for that step back jumper, or go to the hole.
That's what I wanted to do more. Go to the hole.
And he is this year. So you're looking at, I looked at it earlier, he's taking less mid-range jumpers, which is awesome. I think he was at like 2 or 3 a game. Now he's down to like low 1. So it's awesome. Taking a little more threes and actually getting to the restricted area a lot more frequently. So that's kind of why we're winning, if that makes sense.
Good. Keep it up, buddy.
But I do agree with this aspect. I know. Let me know what you think. The positionless voting. So for NBA players, a lot of them are incentives, right? The incentives come from making the all NBA team, and a lot of that is voted on by the media. Do you know about this? Like, did you heard him talk about this part, right?
Yeah. I mean, I know about this anyway, but yeah.
What did you think about that? What do you think about how the media votes on all that?
Well, I don't think that it's not positionless though, right? It's guards and forwards, so it's not truly positionless. But no, I mean, I agree in the aspect that why are these old men from different all over the country, like in control of my money kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So like he can't even make the Supermax if he doesn't make it onto one of these all NBA teams. And honestly, that's a bigger conversation than we can get into right now, I think. But no, I totally agree. It's kind of bullshit that all NBA has to factor into the Supermax. I think it should be like a stat or something, that maybe like a net rating stat or something. That's what should matter.
But I think for his case, it was interesting because he did get a lot of votes. He did get a ton of points. But unfortunately, the way they voted, like I was mentioning, I mean, it's not truly positionless, but it's guarded forward. So his points got split. Some people voted for him as a guard, where some people voted for him as a forward, even though the cumulative points of all of that, he would have been an all-NBA. But because they do it based on position, guard, forward, center, all that stuff, he didn't make it on the all-NBA team, even though he is technically a top 15 player, right?
Yeah.
And that's his point. He was like, if I'm a top 15 player, then I should be all-NBA, which I kind of agree. I mean, I'm not in disagreement to that.
No, I mean, I don't disagree with that at all. But I hate all NBA and that kind of stuff. When it comes down to just media voting, it's tough. I wish they added coaches votes as well, and player voting. But whenever I go back to like look at like who had a good year that year, I do always go back to all NBA voting and like who's going to be an MVP or a Hall of Fame candidate. I look at all NBA teams made. Those things do matter though in the long run, right? So it's basically what the overall perspective of you. And yeah, it is a bummer that he isn't a top 15 player, because on every list that you see of top players under 25, it's him and Luka, right?
Yeah.
And Luka made All NBA, I believe, last year, didn't he? I believe he did.
Yeah.
Thought he made third team, but yeah, it's a real bummer.
Yeah. But all right, moving on, sticking kind of with the NBA. Now that we got the season starting back up after this little halftime of the season, middle of the season, LeBron obviously went back to Cleveland for the All-Star game and had a blast. And now we're hearing, rumblings and rumors of him mentioning a potential reunion in Cleveland. And because of what LA did in the trade deadline, or didn't do, right? What LA didn't do at the trade deadline was to help him get pieces that he wants. In your eyes, I mean, I don't know how up to it, you are on it, but what do you think is going on here with LA? Like, they're currently 9th in the West, 27-31. They've only won 3 of the last 10 going into the All-Star break. AD now is out for an extended amount of time. Westbrook has been West Brick, for lack of a better term. But, I mean, what is going on here?
I mean, well, what was LA supposed to do? Were they supposed to trade away another first-round pick for, John Wall, trade Westbrook and a first-round pick?
LeBron wanted that.
I know, and how stupid is that? I mean, that's why they're in this situation.
Pelinka was like, no thanks.
They traded all their assets away for Russell Westbrook. I mean, what a dumb trade that was in retrospect, right? Kuzma even looks like he's balling. He was balling a little bit early in the season too, Caruso, who got sent out to, Chicago. Chicago, was killing it before he got hurt. Just some bad personnel decisions by the Lakers. They got held hostage, and this is what happens. LeBron has one more year left after this year. I'd be surprised if he stayed in LA with the way things are heading right now. But with all that being said, I wouldn't want to face LA as an 8th seed if I'm the Suns.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of a trap. I definitely agree with that there. I actually listened to a few. You've turned me on to listening to more of the Ringer stuff. And I do agree that, both Brooklyn and LA are interesting 7-8 seeds and could be kind of a trap for those 1-2. So you might see some teams tank a bit so they don't have to sit at that 1 or 2 spot.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we ended up with a Cleveland 1 seed.
Oh, so everybody drops a little bit, so then they have to play Brooklyn? That would be hilarious. But yeah, I mean, going with what's happening in LA, I mean, to your point, like, they traded all those assets to get Russell Westbrook. It's not working out at all. And then Pelinka kind of closed the door on LeBron because he's like, no, this is what you wanted. Now you want to back out of it, and you want to give up more assets to get John Wall over here? Like, are you crazy?
Hell no.
And I think it's interesting, right? Because you got LA, the Lakers, who were a force of an organization before he showed up. Now, no disrespect to Miami. I mean, you look at Cleveland, like, LeBron put Cleveland on the map. Like, people didn't really care about the Cavs as much as they did after, since LeBron has been there. But now he's going to LA, and at first they gave him things that he wanted. But now I think they're looking at it from a perspective of like, no, like, we're a top organization. If you leave, we have nothing here. And I looked at those contracts. My goodness, bro. Like, 76% of their salary cap is going to AD, Russ, and LeBron. 76%, dude. Like, that's insane.
I'd love to see it.
I mean, you don't think that it's good when the Lakers are good? Like, the NBA is good better when the Lakers and Celtics are good.
I heard this point. Did you hear that on Simmons? I heard this point.
Oh, I actually didn't listen to his, but yeah.
I heard this point, and I couldn't. I care less. I'm a Celtics fan. I want them to suck. I want them to be terrible. I want them to be miserable because they continue to buy championships with bringing over AD, bringing over Shaq, stealing Kobe from Charlotte. I mean, this is just enough. Stop crying, okay? Lakers fans, this is the team you wanted. This is what you get.
Yeah. I mean, Miami was a different case for LeBron because those other guys took, a lot less contracts to be able to come together. Kind of the same thing in what the 08 Celtics did. Obviously, you got to throw an 08 Celtics reference.
That's a roster construction thing, right? Though,
right.
They actually had a good GM, Pat Riley, who constructed a good roster of young players around them and didn't panic when things were going tough and try and go out and get some half rain, I shouldn't say that about Russ. But some crazy guy that's just going to throw up shots. I mean, if the Lakers just run back what they had last season, take it to right now the trade deadline. I mean, they're in play for C.J. McCollum, right?
Right.
They're in play for these. They're in play. I mean, does Kuzma and Caruso get you C.J. McCollum? I think so.
Probably. Yeah.
Hell yeah. It probably gets you Norm Powell too at the same time. You know what I mean? There was things that could have been done had they been more patient. You know, this is now. I will take this away from the Simmons podcast. Something that was mentioned. I believe Kevin Wild said it. The problem with the LA teams is that they want everything. The LA team, leading the Lakers, is they want everything now, right? They have no patience. They're going out trying to get assets now, and that's hurting them. The problem with the Celtics team, the other great franchise in the NBA, was patience. We were too patient. We were being way too patient. We weren't going after it, even though I disagree with his point. Because we went out and got Kyrie Irving, we went out and got Gordon Hayward, so we're being patient. But I understand his point. With Tatum and Brown, we're being patient and whatnot. I would like to see us be a little bit more aggressive this offseason, and I would like to see the Lakers be a little bit more patient. And I think that would work well for both franchises. Even though I love seeing the Lakers suck, and this is great. But again, now to go back on my last point, the buyouts still have to come. So let's see what happens after buyout season. Let's see what happens after all that good stuff moves around. But I like where the Celtics are at, and I love where the Lakers are at. So hopefully they can't move anybody around.
All right. So that kind of concludes the bulk of our show. I know we have our townie takeaway. Vic, I kind of wanted to do something a little bit different for our townie takeaway.
Sure.
Just a kind of a brief discussion, a brief kind of sound off. What are your thoughts? Because we're kind of NBA heavy today, so I kind of wanted to continue that trend, but also relate it to another sport that we're dying to have come back, which is MLB.
Okay.
What do you feel about the players' power in the NBA? What are your immediate thoughts? Like, you don't have to go into details, contracts, all that stuff, but do you feel the NBA players have way too much power now?
Yeah, hold on. Let me just close my door real quick so nobody can hear my barking dog real quick. First of all, that's bait. Nobody wants to be the guy that's like, less player power. But I missed. It's not so much that I missed that I don't like the player power. I just miss the days where teams where players stayed with teams longer, right? Like I miss the days where, but on the other end, I love the free agency and the player movement. That's the most exciting time in the NBA almost. Is the off season when guys are moving around. You know, you don't have to worry about a guy sticking in a place for 12 years. So I think I'm convincing myself that I like the player empowerment movement. I like player power. I like the fact that players get to control. Now the one thing I don't like about it is the Ben Simmons saga, right?
Right.
Where he gets to basically sign a new deal. And I think that's the move nowadays, right? So sign the deal and then hold the franchise hostage and get moved wherever you wanted to go anyway. I think it's a kind of bummer. I think it's a bummer.
Yeah, and that was kind of my point, that I was actually talking to somebody this week and obviously had a few Chardonnays while I was discussing it. But I said, the reason why the MLB won't come back so fast is because I'm pretty sure they're looking at the landscape of sports and noticing how powerful players are, how they can do this, how they can hold a team hostage like this. Now imagine if a player like Shohei Ohtani or Mike Trout holds a team for hostage. That team's tanking. That team is absolutely tanking. They might not be able to survive that. And I just think that it's going to be really tough with this CBA. It's going to be really interesting to follow up with it and see kind of where it goes. Now, I think the MLB does a really good job with allowing, compensation, right? Like that's kind of the big thing is, players can, there's a salary cap, but it's luxury tax that you have to pay at the end of the day. But So I think they do a lot of allowances on that aspect, and obviously the contracts can be extremely long. But I think they're also looking at it from a context of like, well, we still need to keep our power as owners because we see what's going on in the NFL and the NBA, where you have players like Ben Simmons, Kyrie Irving, Aaron Rodgers, just to name a few people right off the bat, who are essentially holding their teams hostage and not even going out there and competing. We know you want to leave. You sign a contract for a reason. Play through your contract. Be competitive. And I think that's really frustrating. And I think we're going to start seeing it in all these future CBAs. I could be 100% wrong. That's just my thought on it. That's my tiny takeaway. I don't know what you thought about that, but I'm
sorry. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at Mike. Thanks for the encouragement, Mike. I appreciate it.
Oh.
Appreciate it, brother. I agree with everything you just said, Sammy. It's a double-edged sword, right? So, basically, I don't want to root for the rich billionaire, dude, right? Yes, I did, TK. I don't want to root for the rich billionaire owners, right? But I also don't like when they, like you said, hold these franchises hostage. It's a bummer. I don't know what the right thing is here, and I know it's a lame excuse and a lame thing to say, but I don't know what the right move is here, Sammy. I think you look at the NFL, and I mean that's just no player empowerment whatsoever. I get
it's getting there. I think it's getting there, though.
It is slightly, but I mean really, like they can cut a guy anytime they want, right?
Then you kind of look at the effect of the Russell Wilsons, and then maybe we'll eventually see it with the Pat Mahomes, where when these quarterbacks start to outweigh the salaries, and then they can't get any help, well, what's going to happen then? You know what I mean? So, yeah, I mean, it is a double-edged sword, though, to your point.
Yeah. I mean, well, then you get the Deshaun. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sucks.
I don't have a solution. That was my takeaway. I wanted to bitch about it. I was hoping you would join me on the bitch train.
I mean, I agree with you, but like I don't know how to fix it.
Me neither. That's for the next Townie takeaway then, or in the future.
These damn millennials are messing up our sports.
Yeah, for real.
Sports.
But that cuts it, man. We're right at 1 hour. Vic, what did you want? Did you want to sound off on anything or close it out before we do a final close? Anything you want to add?
I will say I hope. I'm not sure if Sean or TK are watching, but you guys both need to watch Peacemaker if you already haven't. Those are like the only two people. Have you watched it, right? You watched it already, right, Sammy?
No, I just finished Inventing Anna. I know that sounds really strange, but that was a really good show.
That's stupid, and that accent is terrible. That's why I haven't watched it yet. Like, why is her accent like that?
I don't know. It bothered me the whole time. It bothered me.
It's like, is she Dutch or does she have a speech impediment? I don't know.
I don't know. I guess that's what happens when you have somebody who was born in Russia and moved to Germany. It's just like I don't know.
Oh yeah, that's a terrible accent. Yeah, the Peacemaker, great show. Surprisingly, Peacock has some pretty good shows on their streaming service. Peacock, and that's the NBC streaming service. They have this. And you'll like this, Sammy. They have this. This show called Frogger. It's basically like a real life version of Frogger. Oh, so, yeah, it's pretty cool, man. It's pretty cool. All right,
interesting.
That's all I have for I
do want to see that Lakers show though. That's on. I think it's on HBO.
Oh, that looks great. It's on HBO Max. It's called Showtime.
Yeah. If you have HBO Max, you gonna hook me up?
Yeah. No. Yeah. Yeah. I'm down to split it. Sure. I ain't rich like that, bro. I'm poor. I'll split it with you. No, what I was saying. Okay, so I didn't know that we were gonna have. I'm usually not allowed to speak at the end of this thing, so like I love it. Next week I'll have some shows prepared. I'll give you guys a review of my favorite show of that week.
Yeah, and I think Vic, this could be a good opportunity. Do you want to open it up for kind of what we were kind of hoping to bring into our shows going forward, where we review a movie? Do you want to do that this next episode, or we'll do it how about we do it in 2 weeks?
Yeah. So Sammy and I, what we're going to do is we're going to do our best to review a sports movie of the past. Something that...
Or the present, but yeah. All around.
Well, obviously it won't be the present because it would have already come out. Right?
Yeah. I mean, you could do the Kurt Warner one. That's still kind of present.
That's true. But also, it's about the past.
True.
No, I'm giving you shit. I'm giving you a guff.
I don't know how to use that phrase right.
I don't think anybody does. That's the best part about it. The guff just keeps giving extra guff. Yeah. All right. I'm gonna go to bed. TK says. Yeah. All right. But yeah. So basically, Sammy, I think you're the best to explain. But basically, we're gonna watch an old movie or a movie, review it, and then give you our take on it. 5-10 minute take. Nothing like a big show or anything like that, but just something that Sammy and I wanted to do, switch things up, have a new segment, especially with the NFL gone, kind of keep everybody's interest in it.
Heck yeah. So as Vic mentioned, we're going to be doing some movie reviews, and we'll be posting it on Instagram kind of beforehand and let you guys know what movie we're going to review so you guys can tune in and, tell us we're stupid if we like a movie or not. So that'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited.
With that being said, thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you, TK. Thank you, Mikey. Thank you, Arctic JC, as always. Thank you, Chris Nolan. Thank you, Meme Zone. Thank you, Geronimo. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, all the people for, all of our regulars that come in here. And also thank you to all the newcomers and new subscribers. I know there's a lot of you that are watching because last week we got, I think, about 100 views, but only, I believe, 20 of you are subscribed. So, I mean, there's like 75 of you that are just lurking, that are watching, but you're not really subscribed yet. But yes, we want to say thank you for joining us over here on our new station. Shout out to House of Fandom. They are on currently right now. So go check them out, House of Fandom shows. I believe they are doing Peacemaker on their show, so they'll be reviewing that. Thank you for joining us on this journey. We are in this new channel. We got nice HD layout kind of going on. Wanted to thank everybody for complimenting us on kind of our new layout and how everything looks real HD. They can see all of Vic's beard hairs. So just remember going forward, Vic was out of town, so we had to do it on Thursday, but we will be live every Tuesday around 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And all those posts will be posted, so you can even watch them on your drive to work or, whenever you want. Whenever you want to talk, whenever you want to listen to good sports content, just put us on, man. It's going to be great. Again, I love you.
Content, whatever you think about us.
Please remember, like the video, subscribe. Tell your friends to like the video and subscribe. Tell your neighbors to like the video and subscribe. So tell everybody to like the video and subscribe. The likes and subscriptions help us with the YouTube algorithm to reach other potential viewers and to increase our ever-growing content and to bring you even more content. Did you like talking about math today? Probably not, but it was sports math, and it was pretty great and very useful, so you can sound smart at your next dinner party. So like and subscribe. Tell your mom, tell your neighbor, your husband, wife, whatever, aunt, great aunt. I don't care. Tell your cat to subscribe. I'm sure your cat has a YouTube channel as well. Lastly, don't forget to check out our Instagram page at Townie_sports and our TikTok page at TownieSportsPod, all one word, for all mini clips, highlights of the show as they get dropped, some of the takeaways. Mostly it's like a lot of Vic's great takes because my takes aren't as good as his. And he helps us go viral. So yeah, check us out there on all your socials. With that being said, I am your host, Sammy, alongside the great Vic, and we are Townie Sports. See you guys next week.
Hey, swag so mean, hey, swag on 100. We keep it real, dog, nah, we ain't never fronted. You know my whole cap G-Clan stay blunted. My toes stay bruised, cause I'm running to the money. Swag so mean, swag on 100. We keep it real, dog, nah, we ain't never fronted. You know my whole cap G-Clan stay blunted. My toes stay bruised, cause I'm running to the money.